Hello again, everybody. As you would expect from someone called Karl after Karl Marx, I got a theory. I wouldn't swear that this is my own theory completely, and nobody else has ever thought of it because probably lots of big minds have. We stand on the shoulders of giants, as Newton, I think it was, and then Oasis, Noel Gallagher, Liam, it would be. He's the brains in the outfit. We stand on the shoulders of giants. And my theory is basically that within each human being, within each individual, we have the whole history of the species. If we take conception as being the equivalent of the Big Bang, there's a few jokes in there somewhere, I suppose. If you take conception as the Big Bang, because it operates in the same way, only with conception, there are two people involved. And according to theology, there is only one person. So if there is a God, I think there must be two of them, a male and a female. And we started off with the Big Bang, which is conception, and all the sperm, thousands of sperm making their way to the egg. One lives, and this is what happened with Earth. So presumably life started somewhere in the sea a billion years ago, and it starts off as some kind of microbe. How that came about, I don't know, and nobody, neither does anybody else. But it's a leap of the imagination to say that it was all created by some giant fairy in the sky. Over whatever period they care to choose. It started off as 6 days. Now they sort of adjusted to meet with recognised facts that the Earth is only 6,000 years if you calculate the biblical begatting and so on. You know, that means we're only Bishop Ussher, I think it was, it said we were 6,322 years or whatever it was in his time on Earth, which is absolute nonsense. We develop in water. That was the original thing. I'm not too sure about my time scales here. But if we develop in water, which we do as children, as babies, as infants, as the unborn, before we're born, we develop in water, and then we come onto land, both in the metaphorical sense of the child and in the sense of the species. We came onto land, and what we had developed as fins became legs and limbs, arms, and every creature, whether it's basic, right from the original, every creature is based on the same pattern. We all have a head, a body, and four limbs. This even though the limbs only represent themselves as fins in fish, they still represent the same idea, the same basic idea. And each a head, a body, and four limbs, and each head has two eyes, 2 ears, a nose, and a mouth. The only variation is in insects, but even they only have one head that's built on the same basic principle. That is a tube which takes in and emits. We have our exits and our entrances, our mouths and our anuses. We all work on the same basic practice. We need an anus because we eat. Why God created people who have to eat, I don't know, because he could have done it without all that, and not only eat, but have to eat our fellow creatures, which is a key for a recipe for disaster in many ways. And disaster is what has ensued. There's a holocaust goes on every day of millions of animals being killed for us to eat. Now, when we come on to land, as mammals, as creatures, we learn to crawl first of all, and that's what a baby also learns to do. And in time, he will learn to climb trees, which early humans did as well. There's proof of evolution. The toenails on their own are proof of evolution. Give me another explanation for toenails, other than that they used to be used for something else, i.e. climbing trees, etc. So we then develop into, if you notice little boys, and girls too, I suppose, like to climb trees, because in our early history that's what we did. And if you look at each stage of development of the child, you'll see a similar stage of development in humanity. Little boys love, if you give anything to a little boy, he'll turn it into a weapon. If you give him a hairdryer, he'll shoot you with it. Because this is the juvenile and adolescent frame of mind. And that adolescent frame of mind still continues to this very day in wars. You know, the odd thing is that the ordinary individual, separating the individual from the mass, the ordinary individual does not engage, repeat, does not engage in violence normally. The last time I hit anybody or anybody hit me, I was drunk. And I should imagine that is the experience of most people. We are not, as they say, constantly have a need for aggression and fighting. But at a national level and international level, we do this all the time. And this is because if you study teenagers, they are the most tribal of human beings. They gather in groups. And I think, taking my analogy to its logical conclusion, that at this stage in our history, human beings are in a tribal mode. We're either Muslims or Christians or capitalists or communists or Scots or Irish, Scots and English. We have to split, divide, and Karl Marx came along in 1848 and saw that we had to develop, and we would develop in a natural way, because government, right from the beginning, got bigger and bigger and bigger. We started off with just villages, and then we had towns and hamlets and cities and counties and nations, and international, like in the European Union. And not the European Union as a capitalist alliance, I recognize that. But long term, human beings, the area of government expands. And this seems to be an accepted fact. The other fact is, which is often ignored by some Darwinians, which I claim to be as well, but they would say that Hitler, for instance, believed in Darwin because it was the survival of the fittest. But I would say the fittest are the people who merge best into their communities. That acting socially and cooperating is what makes human beings different from other animals. No, not other animals, they hunt in packs. Most animals hunt in packs. But we are nothing on our own. John Donne was right when he said that no man is an island. We need each other to live. We cannot live on our own. Well, you need a mother and a father for a start. Before you can be present and produced and present. So I would say we are social animals. Up until now, it's when human beings cooperate with each other that they're at their best. And so I would take my thesis to the extent that human beings are adolescents, because we behave in an adolescent tribal fashion most of the time. But the idea is now permeating humanity that we can be better than that, we can be more than that, we can be something different. When we cooperate with each other. And I'll close this part of this thesis at this point, and I'll carry on talking about tribalism in the next point.